Welcome back, Dota 2 fans, for our third and final best of 3 series of the day for the GameShow Global Esports Dota 2 Cup. We got SVB taking on CIS Rejects, largely considered to be one of the strongest, if not the strongest teams in this CIS qualifier. So SVB just lost a heartbreaking series 2-1 to Esport. We'll see if they can pick up their socks and look to take one back. I am MRP. I'm with Lyrical Gangster, and we are your English coverage for the tourney. Lyrical, any thoughts on this matchup?
Well, I think that you said it earlier. CIS Rejects, a very, very powerful squad. SVB are going to need to bring their A-game today if they want to take one away. And interestingly enough, we already see here a hero that got banned out in all of the last series, I believe. The Winter Wyvern picked up against the Darkseer with the Earthshaker combo, and finally the Queen of Pain now by CIS Rejects.
Yeah, definitely in Wyvern, not something you want to give up alongside the Darkseer, so to be picked up against it, certainly warranted. And the Earthshaker alongside it, pretty good as well. So both of those heroes definitely combo up nicely with the Darkseer. SVB just beaten by a Queen of Pain DS, so we'll see if they're able to CIS are able to accomplish the same thing. But either way, running through the draft, SF Tusk bands coming out from SVB, and the Lena BH band from CIS. No real surprises from those four.
Yeah, I think the thing also that you got to keep in mind here is whenever you're playing several series in a row, you start thinking back to the games before, how those ended up playing out for you, what type of dynamic is working for your team in the moment. And as a captain, you got to be able to sort of read your team and see what type of game does this need to be. Does this need to be a quick one? Are we too tired? Does this one, do we have the potential to go along with this one even? So fatigue can definitely play a factor, and we'll see if they end up making that work for them in their favor. CIS Rejects this time around. Gyrocopter banned out, as well as the Dazzle and the Wind Ranger, waiting for one more out of SVB before these next set of picks.
Yeah, Dazzle certainly a popular pick, and one that works definitely well both with the Darkseer and the Queen of Pain. Having the Surge and the Blink out underneath that grave can often save your life in team fights. So Dazzle just a strong ban. A strong pick that was banned there. Wind Ranger also something that we've seen quite a bit of in the mid lane after some of these more common mid laners, Lena, Queen of Pain, Leshrac, were hit a bit with the nerf stick. So Naga ban, interesting one coming out from SVB. So maybe they're looking to ball up a little more, don't want to be split pushed, and we'll see what theme they follow with their draft in the coming picks.
5 seconds.
You know, something that's kind of interesting here, pretty much all the defensive supports have either been picked out or taken by SVB. The only ones that are really left around are going to be those sort of Omni Knight, Abaddon, the kind of lower tier of the defensive supports. And with the Spirit Breaker here, I'm wondering if they're going to opt to go somewhat aggressive with this lineup. Certainly with the Spirit Breaker in the offlane position, you can end up doing something like that. Likewise, if they wanted to, they could have ended up going for a more hard carry role, but with the Spirit Breaker pickup, I feel like this is more along the lines of trying to make something happen early and often.
Yeah, definitely so. Gonna be queuing up the aggression, it seems. Earthshaker may be a little bit more present in lane than we generally see him. Interesting pick from CIS Rejects here. Definitely a comfort zone pick is the IO for them. Both Vanscore and Always Want to Fly can play this pretty darn well, but what's interesting to me is they pick it not only into a Wyvern but also into an Earthshaker. Both heroes that deal very well with IO +1. Two heroes that want to be in close proximity to one another. Having the Winter's Curse and the Echo Slam can certainly put a wrench into those plans. So we'll see how it fares for CIS Rejects. We'll see who they end up pairing it up with in the coming picks.
You know, one thing that I find kind of interesting about this as well is that the Winter Wyvern is often a hero that when things start to sort of shake up in the mid game and action starts happening around the map, sometimes that Winter Wyvern will switch on over into the off lane position, toss on out those Splinter Blasts to keep the enemy off of your towers, and it's very difficult to do that against a relocate. So if they do end up getting a quick 6 on IO, that might be a place where they end up trying to target being able to pick off that Winter Wyvern. But like you said, Winter's Curse, a very strong spell and certainly can make it happen. Ooh, Lesh picked up. There's a lot of damage coming out.
It's a lot of aggression from SVB. You said maybe fatigue is a factor, and it almost looks like they're looking to end these games early on with the Leshrac Spirit Breaker pickups. Lesh also does well versus dual lane in general with the Lightning Storm, so they're definitely expecting the dual lane mid, and the tiny pickup, no surprise there for CIS Rejects. We saw this combination fail a little bit earlier today, but CIS certainly a slightly more capable team of executing just any lineup in general, so we'll see what they end up picking. Presumably for the off lane, of course, they could end up, or presumably that 4th position support. Wisp, they're definitely going to be playing that hard 5 with the Queen of Pain, what it seems to be in the safe lane right now.
Interestingly, they end up banning out the Night Stalker. Very strange there. I don't know exactly completely and totally why they would end up banning out that hero, but apparently not wanting to have to face against it. The problem that you do end up sometimes running into that is you know, the reduced vision, which can be a problem with IO Tiny. So I don't know, maybe that's what they're a little bit concerned about, another ganking hero that can really mess you up in the early game. A lot of very interesting ways that CIS Rejects could go, and I love that the new patch, you got these new unique bans out that we didn't see last time, and I'm excited for this one to go forward.
Yeah, perhaps they're looking for even a carry or a 1-position farmer that's really susceptible to silence as well. The Crippling Fear level, or at 4 minutes in, level 1 is 5 seconds long, so it could be quite a potent spell there. But as you mentioned, perhaps just choking you out of the map with vision with that Night Stalker is going to be really helpful when you have the relocate at your disposal. So interesting ban to say the least, as you mentioned, with already the Darkseer and the Queen of Pain out. It would have been pretty greedy, but could have synergized well with CIS Rejects. Huskar ban is an interesting one. Coming out from CIS. They have the pure damage and the right click of the Tiny from the Queen of Pain Sonic Wave, but certainly not enough just alone to warrant leaving the Huskar in the pool. He can be a hero that completely turns a game, especially against an IO who life break pretty much does half of his HP pool. So.
Jeez, Luna picked up here as well. They're wanting to end this game. They've got a very clearly executed draft here. They know what they want to do, it looks like, and you know, that's always something that's dangerous to go up against, is when you have a combination of heroes that synergize well together. You got the control from Earthshaker and the Leshrac and the Spearbreaker and the Winter Wyvern, obviously. You got the magical damage from these folks as well. I think that it's just looking like it could be a really rough go for CIS Rejects, depending upon what this next pickup is. IO Tiny, while strong in lane, can sometimes be a little bit lackluster in the mid game if they don't really snowball hard and are able to take those stacks well.
Yeah, definitely so. Perhaps if you can't beat them, join them a little bit from SVB. Again, taken down by the Luna there last game against the Spera. So it's going to be straight aggression. And one hero that's tanky enough to deal with the aggression certainly is that Ogre that they just picked up late. There is a lot of magic damage, though, on SVB's side, and Ogre not quite as tanky against magical damage, or as resistant to it as he is against physical. So he still synergizes very well with the Tiny IO. The Bloodlust for that target can be nice, and with a lineup that wants to push into your towers, now being able to cast Bloodlust onto buildings could be actually maybe somewhat influential in this one.
Yeah, absolutely, actually. It's kind of an interesting little dynamic there, because this lineup from SVB is going to be one that wants to try and push quickly and wants to try and take down these towers quickly. That Bloodlusted tower, all of a sudden, it's hitting you pretty significantly more often than it would beforehand. So we'll see how this goes, and maybe, hopefully, we'll end up seeing some pretty cool action here. I don't know if CIS Rejects is going to want to fight early. They have a lot of team fight spells, but with IO Tiny, I always feel like it's going to be a bit more about trying to take on out a little bit of split pushing from the side, but we'll see.
And rip casters once again.
Oh, always.
I got like 3 seconds of movement there, and I got excited, but there you go. Courtesy pause once again. Oh, I have an update. That's not good. That is not good. Hopefully
yeah, it looks like we got
able to rejoin the lobby here. Unfortunately, it seems like a pretty quick download, but bear with us once again, folks. Dealing with this for a couple weeks now, Volvo, please. And gonna hop right back in to the game, hopefully. So should be a good one. CIS Rejects so far have lost a couple games, but I don't believe they've lost a series just yet. So looking to keep that alive, and SVB looking to keep their hopes alive after a couple of not thrown series, but a couple of lost series in the past.
Yeah, it's definitely been a tough go for them so far, and to have to go straight from Aspera into afterwards a match with CIS rejects, really, really tough going there. And like you said, hopefully they're able to turn this one back around here for a second.
Radiant side is going to be that SVB squad. Worst is going to be picking up the Earthshaker towards the safe lane. We got Smiley on the Winter Wyvern. Wishmaster going to be picking up the Luna. Pikachu on the mid lane. Leshrock, and finally over in the off lane, Dale going to pick up that Spirit Breaker.
And after dropping off the ward down there in the bot lane, we're going to be taking a look at Vanscore, who's going to be playing at the Io. We also have 1-1-1 on the Dark Seer in the mid lane. Iceberg Dota going to be playing that Tony. We have over here Artis is going to be playing the Queen of Pain and what looks to be potentially up near that safe lane, but probably going to move on over afterwards. And Always Want to Fly going to be playing that Ogre Magi.
Yeah,
that's not how you pronounce it, but you know.
Some people do. Some people do. I don't hate. 1-1-1, guys, for those of you that are familiar with the old Hellraiser squad, is Gorek. So playing along his former teammate Artez there, and of course Always Want to Fly in Vanscore, formerly of Empire together. So a lot of synergy in this one. Iceberg, up and coming player in the CIS region. So definitely a lot of synergy for this team, and that's part of the reason why they've been so strong, at least in Tier 2 recently. We'll see how this one gets off going. Looks like Leshrock going to be accompanied, at least for a moment, by Worst in the mid lane, at least to block up his creeps for him.
Always nice to have that happen, and that one is going to end up getting passed out in a second. Courier bringing on out a salve, very necessary against what can be sometimes a very difficult lineup here with Iceberg Do as well as Vanscore here. So the IO has his bottle, going to be able to heal back up the Tiny whenever he wants. We also do have the Lightning Storm with a little bit of a less damage and less snap duration, essentially, being able to jump from Lightning Storm to Lightning Storm, but still a really potent hero. Leshrac, he got nerfed, but he's still really strong.
Yeah. Biggest thing was the jump radius of the lightning. Felt like that was pretty OP, but yeah, I mean, the damage nerf, it's not the biggest deal. The slow is still really nice, and he still outputs overall quite a bit, especially against the Tiny IO combo. So yeah, Leshrock definitely nothing to overlook, despite being nerfed pretty hard. Not that he didn't deserve it.
Ooh, mid lane Iceberg Dota taking a lot of damage. Is he going to be able to stay alive with the IO there in the bottle? No problem at all. Did get hit by both a fissure as well as a split earth and then a lightning storm. Tanky as all heck, though, is going to be able to survive through that one. So nicely done there with the IO, keeping him topped on up on HP.
Yeah, nice ward being planted down by the Darkseer, and he's going to at least be able to stop up the pull through. 1-1-1 though, or Gorek. Going to take a little bit of harass damage from that Arctic Burn, still holding on to the Surge rather confidently here, and with the double Ion Shell we'll be able to clean up that wave and salve up. Other than that, pretty stagnant in the early game. Always Want to Fly going to trade hits with Dale, and these are two heroes that certainly have an inclination to do so. The Spirit Breaker and Ogre Magi early on. Pikachu running down to try and find the haste here. He's going to deny it up. Nice play. But may pay for it with his life here. Toss going to come through, and Pikachu is going to die off, not even needing the toss with the Ion Shell being there. So kind of going to find it. They deny a haste rune from Vanscore, but well worth that kill on the Leshrock.
It's always good to be able to deny out those runes to the Wisp. Definitely a key component to being able to shut down that mid lane with the IO Tiny. Unfortunately, I'm still reconnecting. Ended up crashing out yet again.
Yeah, I did just a moment ago. Just got in for that skirmish mid lane. But it looks like you're coming back in just now. Fissure Block is not actually going to land on Iceberg. Had it landed, the Split Earth probably would have killed him off. And one more right click. Not going to be in range for Pikachu. So I want to say slight misplay there from Worst. If he's able to hit that Fissure, probably bring down the Tiny and find a revenge kill for Pikachu mid lane. But we'll look to clarity up and go for another round after this one. 1-1-1 Gorek in the bot lane. He's out of mana, so needs to be a little bit careful here. And Smiley looking to wrap on him, but Wishmaster also approaching upon him, but gonna back off for now, playing pretty safe on the Darkseer. And everything else gonna kind of rest at equilibrium.
The other thing there as well was that in that mid lane, that the last second Vanscore before the Lightning Storm ended up connecting was able to get the overcharge off on him just to get that damage reduction. So clutch. He ended up getting away with 40 HP. Tony is definitely somebody who can get a little bit of... he's not as tanky as you imagine he would be. Ooh, this might end up being a little bit of a catch there. Does dodge the split earth, thankfully, and is going to be able to run on down towards that bot area to get away. The rune is going to respawn here again in a second as well. Probably going to see them recharge up a little bit while the bottle's being popped and then pick up the second rune again as well.
Yep. Darkseer's dangerously low bot lane, but there's no vision of him just yet. And continuing to shove that Wade forward under the tower, make life hell for the Luna, make it a little bit difficult for her to last hit under tower. As you can see, Artis on the Queen of Pain, doing quite, having quite a margin of a lead over this Luna in terms of CS.
Well, the thing also here that's so impressive is you take a look at the relative levels. Darkseer is level 5 right now. Spearbreaker's still stuck at 2, and they've been able to do that just by consistently keeping that lane pushed in. It makes it harder for the Luna to be able to last hit under tower. We also do have a rotation over here. Ogre Magi just running on in, wants to be able to potentially catch Pikachu. They do end up catching the Avalanche onto him, tosses on up the Winter Wyvern. He's in a little bit of trouble. There's the Ignite as well, dealing some damage. Pikachu now, they're sort of splitting their targets. Not sure if they're going to be able to catch either of them. Pikachu here is going to end up going down. I believe Always Want to Fly, though, is going to end up getting taken out by the last hit from the tower, and Leshrac gets the credit for that one.
Yeah, it's still worth it for CIS. No experience gained by Lesh there, and they force a rotation over from Smiley, and as you mentioned, Darkseer just kind of having a field day in the bot lane, sitting on his level 5, almost 6 now. So he's going to walk back to base, probably grab some boots and a TP, and he can get right back there. Yeah, one of the weaknesses of Wyvern, I mean, she has decent poke with the Arctic Burn, but really no catch at all, so no threat by her lonesome to sort of any offlaner early on, albeit a Darkseer who's got a surge to get away.
Yeah, you really need a second person in there to be able to deal with it, and she does apply the slow, but obviously Surge doesn't care about slow, and so he has a perfectly fine time in lane. Meanwhile, up in the top lane as well, Dale jumping back in again, just trying to get back to lane faster. He finally picks up 3. He had to TP out, was hoping to be able to get level 3 when the Queen of Pain jumped on him, but wasn't able to make the kill happen. The TP was fine, and across the board, I feel like right now, CIS rejects are looking really, really solid in terms of their laning stage.
Yeah, certainly are, and going to be perhaps caught out here top. Fisher block is going to be there, but it's not going to land once again on the Van score, and he'll be able to tether over top the Fisher towards Iceberg's tiny mid lane. Wyvern going to be TPing bottom as Luna finds a solo kill with her Eclipse on the Ogre Magi, but getting pretty low, and actually the Surge gonna be a little bit too late for Gorax, and the Iron Shell not enough. 2 kills going the way of this safe lane, and not even the Tiny now going down mid lane with the rotation in from the Spirit Breaker. The Queen of Pain rotates bottom, does find the Luna, but overall looks like a pretty good trade for the Radiant side. 3 for 2. Luna dying at the end forces a rotation over from the Queen of Pain.
You know, it's the commentator's curse, just talking about how good they were doing in the laning stage, and then they end up getting killed 3 of their cores. So not exactly the best in the world, but occasionally it does happen. Queen of Pain, the lone survivor there, is going to be able to regen on up with the IO here, but it's gone still pretty well for them. Like, they've been able to get the core farm that they've needed on these heroes. Iceberg Dota getting chased out a little bit here, but no real problems so far, I don't believe. Split Earth ends up connecting, never mind. Pulls Nova down as well. The Avalanche is tossed just to be able to keep him alive, and IO there to keep him afterwards. Yeah. Nice and refilled up to whole.
Unfortunately, Fisher on cooldown there as well for the Earthshaker, and Darkseer's got the wall up now, and he's being accompanied by Artis bottom on that Queen of Pain. We'll see if they jump forward. They know the Eclipse is down. Gorak gonna surge himself, but wisely so, the Luna gonna back off for now. Dire Vision has scouted out the Spirit Breaker charging through. The Fisher is there on time. The Avalanche gonna keep Dale at bay, but they'll get Van score here with the Split Earth. Artis is gonna come in with the TP. Doesn't have nearly enough mana or the cooldown for the Sonic Wave. They bring down the Leshrac with a tick. Dale gonna be kept up with the Cold Embrace, and has more than enough for a full combo. Does Iceberg here. He's gonna do a lot of damage to Dale. He'll finish him off. Splinter Blast gonna do some damage. Artis on the meanwhile on the side, gonna find the Earthshaker as well, and all over the place. CIS rejects finding good engagements, and very favorable one for them overall. 1,000 net XP and gold going their way.
Nicely done. When things get messy, it really pays to be able to sort of have those dual spells to fall back upon. It just deals so much damage to any individual person, and it's really hard to deal with. So very nicely done there. We do have 2 bottles now, a bottle on Tiny and a bottle on Io. Not something that you always see. They are going to be grouped up here with Always Wanna Fly. Not sure if they're going to opt to jump on anybody at this point in time, but one of the key things to keep in mind here, and one of the reasons that Io Tiny works so well, is because of the stacks that are usually made. And unfortunately right now, if you take a look, there aren't a whole heck of a lot of them. Yeah,
nothing really, just I guess too many skirmishes early on for them to really focus on the jungle. But they do have a pretty considerable lead at this point. It's almost 3k in the way of net worth, and is just over that in the way of experience. So for 9 minutes in, looking pretty good. Meanwhile, mid lane, Avalanche toss. Toss not going to be in range. Fisher going to keep him at bay. Lightning Storm is there as well. Split Earth not going to be there. He's just going to turn for the toss though and bring down the Leshrac. It's even going to damage up the Earthshaker. Spirit Breaker going to come in a little bit late. Splinter Blast will be there, but the overcharge reducing that damage, and Iceberg going to be just fine. He's going to run back in looking for another toss, but won't be able to find it. And Goret's just farming up the Radiant jungle all the meanwhile. So still things looking good for CIS Rejects. Artis has just returned to farming in the safe lane on his Queen of Pain, and looks like he will be rushing that Aghanim Scepter.
Yeah, getting ready for that one to be coming up relatively shortly here. I mean, obviously still a ways away, but that's the type of thing that you want to end up seeing. I'm curious here if they're going to be able to find these stacks down here. I feel like Lesh is going to take them right now, probably after this last stack over at the hard camp for the Radiant. But if they were able to somehow find those, that would make a huge difference. That last one didn't end up connecting, unfortunately. But he's going to be able to take these relatively quickly here with Pulse Nova as well as Lightning Storm and everything else in the mix there also. And that's the way you catch up as Leshrac. Really nicely done.
Yeah, he's got a nice little influx of gold. There is still quite a ways behind with 4 deaths thus far on this Lesh, but at least the support's being diligent about keeping that available to him. Arda's picked up that 10-minute haste rune top and does have that in the bottle. Full drums come out for Iceberg as well. He's doing very well on the Tiny, sitting at 5k net worth, 10 minutes in, 500 GPM roughly at this point, which is crazy for this early in the game. And he's going to start to accelerate his farm now and be able to find a few more picks with the drums to help him close the gap.
I think that probably this is going to be a pretty good situation here for them if they want to group up once this Darkseer finishes off his mech. Being able to have the drums, being able to have the mech, all of these auras working together in combination. You don't need a ton more items. Like the Blink Dagger is nice on Tiny, definitely, but you still can fight, as we've seen relatively recently here as well, and just sort of maybe group up a little bit, or maybe they're going to opt to wait for a Blink, or if they want to do the route that we saw last time, a Midas.
Yeah, Worst's going to be scouted here by Gorex. They're both going to kind of run into each other in the forest, and then Gorex going to continue to just take the farm away from the Radiant side here. Smiley going to jump in. Wishmaster is a bit low. Needs to be careful. The Fisher block will be there, and the Eclipse is going to be popped. He's fogging the Luna right now and Always Want to Fly. Going to come in more or less to die, but the wall is there on 1-1-1. His vacuum on cooldown right now, but with the Ion Shell, he'll burn right through that Cold Embrace. And the charge still coming through on Always Want to Fly. We'll give vision to Worst to bring him down with the Fisher. Now Smiley going to be brought down though with that Sonic Wave. Artez very low, and the rotation in from Leshrac will pick off the Queen of Pain. It's a 2 for 2 thus far. And 1-1-1-1 will be able to get out, but the relocate coming in from the Tiny. Avatos combo onto Pikachu. He gets that Lightning Storm off, and that'll help Dale kill off the Wisp. Kill off the Ogre, but Tiny Wisp still stands strong and get one more kill before the relocate comes out. And overall, a good engagement still for CIS Rejects, and they find quite a bit of net worth and experience going their way, and the Tiny gonna widen his gap. He's the only one to be there the entire time, finding involved in all the kills pretty much and not dying. So 6-1-2 the KDA now on Iceberg.
Really nicely done. He's been able to keep himself alive through these engagements with the help of the Wisp, of course. In that last one, the Fissure ended up blocking off the Wisp from the rest of the heroes, thankfully. Otherwise, I definitely think he would have gone down from just 1 or 2 more right clicks from that Earthshaker or the Spear Breaker. So making it happen, despite the fact that they didn't even end up all growing in together, CIS Rejects end up coming ahead in that fight. And that really shows the power of this lineup, what that IO Tiny can do, the damage reduction. And now that they got the mech, I'm really concerned concerned about SVB right here to see how they're able to deal with this aggression.
Radiant structures are
Yeah, and I feel like, I mean, the Leshrac did a lot of damage there, but he's so underfarmed at this point. And the Tiny are going to find another kill top. That's the Wyvern. He was level 6. Not going to expend the curse there, it seems. And the TP's inbound top lane are going to be a bit too late. Dale going to run through, though. They're going to try and find this Wisp with Pikachu coming through, but the Blink is there. Avatos combo. Splitter is going to be dodged by the Tiny. Another strike will bring down the IO. Iceberg still chasing forward to try and find him. He has the toss in range, and he will get it up into the air, not off into the Spirit Breaker. But they get the more important target in that Leshrac. And now Blink down to the low ground, looking for another Avatos combo with the double damage rune up. Knowing that the Fissure is on cooldown, chasing into worse. He's going to turn for the Echo Slam, toss up into the air, Ava combo, one right click, dead Earthshaker, and will even find the Invis rune. Does he pop it off in time? He does. Dale won't be able to get him, but the Winter's Curse will pop it. And the Sonic Wave going to come through onto 2 from Artez. Artez dropping very low, though. But now the Tiny coming in from the backlines with the Avatos. Brings down the Wyvern. Vacuum finishes off the Luna. They save the Queen of Pain. Triple kill. Going Iceberg's way. 5 men down overall from the Radiant side. And this will probably sound a push on the tier 1 as well.
That was such a freaking unbelievable avalanche toss combo right there. He was able to simultaneously take on down that Spirit Breaker and then get the hit off on the Luna as well to interrupt her being able to hit him at all. It was just expertly done. Really, really well done there by Iceberg Dota. Can't say enough about it. And with that Blink Dagger as well, he's going to be able to jump on forward, make a lot of stuff happen. That one does end up getting a little bit blocked there, but oh, never mind, jumping forward. That's going to be a dead Leshrac. He's got anything to say about it. With the Scream of Pain coming in as well, Dale a little bit caught out also, is going to get vacuumed back on in one more time again. We do have a toss-up if he wants to use it. That's actually going to be Darkseer going down, so maybe going to try and reinitiate here. That's going to be a dead Winter Wyvern. Back and forth they go, and it's looking like yet again CIS rejects are the ones coming out on top.
Yeah, jump forward with the Scream, and one more right click, they'll be able to bring down the Spirit Breaker as well. He's a godlike streak on Iceberg. He needs to be careful not to feed this over, but the overcharge barely keeping him alive with that damage resistance. And yeah, as you mentioned, still a favorable engagement for CIS. Rejects 21 to 12, 15 minutes in. They are starting to pull away with this one. A tier 2 in a little bit of trouble mid, but the res timers are so low at this point in the game that CIS need to be backing off. Yeah, just the mana sustain from the Wisp and having the drums treads on Iceberg, has allowed him to get off many combos in all these engagements, and it's just doing tons of work up against SVB. It was good on CIS to continue fighting, knowing that the Echo Slam and the Winter's Curse and the Eclipse were all down for that engagement.
Totally, and that's the thing also, is that, you know, with those sort of big combos that you got with the Eclipse, with the Echo Slam, Winter's Curse, all of these big, huge spells report Ogre Magi, you end up being into the situation where with the smaller spells that do a lot of damage, like the Vacuum that takes a little bit less time to reload, like the Ogre spells, all of them, Iceberg Dota with his spells as he kills the Earthshaker again. Haste Rune, the scariest piece of rock you've ever seen in your life, and Smiling Not Smiling right now is about to go down in just a second. Is Dale going to be able to survive through this onslaught? I don't know if he can man fight him, honestly. Luna's here as well. Vanscore taking a lot of damage, does get blown up. Alright, with the Leshrac here as well, he's going to have to fight them and kill them all, apparently. He doesn't even care. I don't think maybe he's finally going to go down. He does get taken out. 1,186 gold going the direction of Spirit Breaker.
Yeah, that's huge, and perhaps a little bit of hubris from the CIS side. I mean, the Queen of Pain was just backed off out of the bottom half of the map after being gone on, so they knew they couldn't get any support inbound anytime soon, but just kind of feeling real ballsy there, and the Tiny and the IO actually end up feeding over quite a bit of gold, but still, the lead is, for all intents and purposes, monumental to the Dire side at this point.
Yeah, 10k net worth, it's definitely difficult to sort of fight back against that. But we'll see if they're going to be able to do it. I mean, once again, we talked about the fact that these fights have been going on. There's the Bloodlusted Tower. These fights have been going on when the big ultis are down. And Eclipse just used again, able to take on down the Tiny. Maybe we're going to be able to have something else happen here with the Earthshaker Echo Slam or a Winter's Curse.
Bot lane. 1-1-1 going to be charged on. And a couple of nice bashes from Dale, but Surge going to keep him in a safe distance. They had to jump forward, Avatos onto the Spirit Breaker. Gonna bring him low. The Vacuum brings him back, and the charge is point blank. One more right click from the rock will bring him down. Pikachu doing a lot of damage on the wayward side, but Cold Embrace, not going to be enough to save you from the toss. The Winter's Curse will be there to bring down the Ogre Magi. And Iceberg going to jump forward with the Avalanche. Toss on cooldown for another second, but just a right click is all that is needed. And Smiley's out. Once again, triple kill for the Tiny, sitting on 17, 2, and 4 right now for Iceberg. And the odd man out, in a sense, of this squad, has never played with any of these heroes, at least competitively before, is really shining in this one.
Absolutely. He just finished off his Aghanim Scepter. He's got an Illusion Rune, which is absolutely killer. They are going to jump here on top of Wishmaster, showing yourself in lane against this combo. Not what you want to do, and they completely tear him apart. Don't know if they needed that Sonic Wave, but certainly we're going to give it to him. And now charging in on top of Iceberg Dota. I don't know if that's the right decision. He's going to cancel that one off now.
Just trying to get out to lane quicker, I suppose, but... yeah, I mean, no expense spared for the Luna. It's certainly the most valuable target over on the Radiant side, and they are finding kills as they please at this point. And now with the Aghanim Scepter and the Illusion Rune, this is going to be pretty easy push. Jump forward, in fact, onto the Wyvern, but nice Fisher from the high ground. Keep Iceberg at bay, and unfortunately, 19 minutes in, he'll just have to settle for the mid lane tier 2.
You see how big he is with that Bloodlust? That is just silly. He has this giant branch and he's going to keep hitting away at it. Tiny Bloodlusted with IO overcharge is just too much. I'm really concerned about their ability. You know, Splinter Blast, great at keeping people off of towers, able to one-shot those range creeps. It does look like we're going to have a little bit of an initiation up top here as well. Spirit Breaker and the Luna in the area. The Sonic Wave connects onto Dale. Not sure if Wishmaster got hit, but if he sticks around any longer, he's going to end up going down. Oh no, goodness gracious, that's very frustrating.
Some internal conflict on the Radiant side, it seems. Luna being called out for not having a TP. And it has been... I mean, these teams know each other fairly well, CIS team, but it has been a rough day for SVB. So far they've played already about 2.5 hours of Dota, and only to come out with a series loss there. So this type of game is definitely not what they need for their morale, but very well played so far by CIS. Rejects Pikachu going to run into Artez bottom. And Artez is a little bit low on mana. It does have that haste rune though, so should be able to relatively easily dodge this split earth. Pikachu continuing to stop cast. He will find it, and the Queen of Pain going down for the first time in a long time to that left track. Iceberg though still standing strong, 3,200 gold on top of his Aghanim Scepter. Blink forward, gonna find Dale with the Avatar. Don't know that they have enough to kill him just yet. With that overcrowd, Fisher will be there. They'll charge, jump forward. There's an Eclipse and an Echo Slam. Iceberg probably going to fall here, and once again give over quite a bit of gold for his death. 663 going the way of Luna, and a double kill for Wishmaster. And Rejects need to be a little bit careful not to feed over their lead here. Each of those kills worth quite a bit to the Radiant side.
3,500 gold that time around, a heck of a lot of gold. Same amount of EXP actually as well, so they are, it's scary. I mean, it's still a 12k net worth lead. EXP, it's a 10k net worth lead, so I feel what you're saying. It's definitely scary here. You don't want to give away too many of these kills and potentially end up losing a game that, for all intents and purposes, probably should be won. Yeah, Tiny is still very farmed right now. It's absolutely terrifying. Aghanim Scepter, 2,700 gold on top of that.
Yeah, 2,700 gold at this point. Looking real good for the Tiny. We'll see what he ends up building into. Either way, things still looking pretty grim for SVB, although the net worth lead has been hovering around that 10k mark for the last 5 minutes or so, and of course the later you go into that game, the less 10k net worth lead matters. So we'll see if they jump into the Roshan pit and do the conservative thing here, get themselves an extra life, and then look to go up high ground as opposed to just jump it forward for all these pickoffs, and they will elect to do so.
Yeah, definitely really smart. Tiny's going to be able to get this one if he wants. Does also have the possibility to, you know, he's got level 16 now, so level 3 grow. He does a ton of damage, just about 300. With that Bloodlust at level 2, he's going to be able to get the 40 extra attack speed, extra movement speed there as well, all across the board. It's just looking really great for CIS Rejects.
See if he ends up selling the wand and perhaps like buying a Reaver, or maybe an Eagle Song here for Tiny. It looks like Iceberg
Dire's top tower
content
is
with
under
his
attack.
level of potency at this point. They're going to feed over this tier 1 top, and they will glyph it.
Are fortified.
Will the CIS rejects, but not the biggest deal at this point, as they're going to push towards this last outer
Dire's
tier
top
tower
has
for the
fallen.
Radiant.
Radiant's bottom
Yeah,
tower is
it does
under
also
attack.
look like Iceberg is going to be going
Radiant
for the
structures
Void
are
Stone
fortified.
afterwards. It does have that over there, so probably going to be going for AC next, it looks like. Opting to pick that one up, and Guardian Greaves are also going to be on the courier recipe as well. So that should be picked up relatively shortly. All of a sudden, you're looking very, very good. Dale is charging on in, opts to cut that off.
Radiant's
They
middle
do
tower
see
is
him,
under
though,
attack.
so opting to not go after him. Instead, they're just going to move right on up and go for this tier 3 here. And who can really blame them? There's not a. It's really hard to
Radiant's
initiate
bottom
into this
tower
lineup
is
here.
under attack.
Yeah, and there's no real reason for them to dive for 2 deep.
Radiant's bottom
Iceberg
tower
just sits up
has
there with the
fallen.
Aegis, with his Wisp behind him, and nice heal scepter there.
Dire's top
By the
tower
left rock,
is
they're going to
under
get the curse off, and Vanscore is probably going to go down because of it. A nice vacuum on the back lines, though, is going to keep Vanscore up for the time being. Dale having to jump way back into the back lines to figure out, to pick off, I should say, that Wisp, but the left rock goes down in the meantime, and just going to see a buyback jump in from Vanscore. They're going to bring down Dale. Worst is nearby, invisible with his Shadow Amulet, though.
Dire's top tower
And he
is
will
under
drop
attack.
out. He will drop out a Fisher. Unusual to see the Wisp actually take the Tiny out, but they are being split push top lane by the Luna, and they're going to address that issue with ease. Double kill going the way of Tiny, and Luna down for 60 seconds without buyback. Arta's actually going to be caught out, but a nice vacuum wall comes through by Gorek. And Pikachu going to take a multicast to the face. Cold Embrace will keep him up for now. Artez rotating back in. Has a Sonic Wave, though. Easy kill. Last Shock down for the second time in about as many minutes. 60 seconds on the sideline. All 4 heroes with no buyback. And the Wyvern going to sit there, accept his fate. And
Radiant's bottom
everyone from the
barracks are
Radiant
under
side going to
attack.
report each other. Rage quits coming out.
Wouldn't have it any other way. It's not real Dota unless this happens.
Right.
So a couple of disconnects come out. GGs get called. It was a fun one to watch, if not necessarily
Yeah.
to play for some of these players, but it's pretty fun.
Radiant's middle tower
Yeah, really,
is
really good Dota from CIS Rejects. We saw Tiny Wisp look really passive earlier today, and this was quite the opposite with the aggression overall. Tiny going to end up 23-7. 20 kills in 25 minutes for that Tiny. He'll jump forward to find some more if he can here, but Luna still in the game is going to be able to eclipse him up and bring him down. And now with the Ghost Scepter for Tiny that he probably just bought while he was dead. He'll try to get out, but he's going to be brought down, it seems. Yeah. Jump forward and brought down. Vacuum is there from the Darkseer. Although, relocate out from the Wisp, buy back from the Tiny will probably bring him back momentarily. And waiting with the Echo Slam is worst. He's going to try and right-click into 1-1-1, waiting for them to come through. Echo Slam is a bit early. He wants that solo kill. Won't get it. Charge coming through from the Spirit Breaker. Will find 1-1-1-1. The Wisp is going to be there, though, to keep him up and on the back lines. Wyvern going to be tossed up, brought down. Luna next to fall. Scream of Pain finishes that job, and the Shadow Strike coming through onto the Spirit Breaker. Put the nail in the coffin, and the only ones remaining left are the Earthshaker and the disconnected Leshrock. So, looks like this game's going to be over. 40-23 your final score. GG's are called. Not sure why the admin hasn't really dusted this game off yesterday, but I always want to fly tells you it right there. Ogre Magi, pretty good hero, and not that he had much to do with this win.
Really great. I'm loving every minute of it. Ancient actually going to fall. First time I've seen that in a competitive game in a long time. If this was competitive, but yeah, it's good.
Yeah, technically this was competitive, but CIS making quick work of SVB, and that'll be the first game of this best of 3. They're scheduled for 2 more. Hopefully we don't see them forfeit the next game, but SVB's been a long day for them. It's been a long day for us. 3rd series of the day, guys. First one went to 2 games, second to 3, and this will be the 2nd game of our 3rd series. MRP Lyrical Gangster at your service, your English coverage. We'll be back with game 2 momentarily.